Hey, welcome back to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show, coming to you every Monday at 6 a.m. UK time. And this is the first episode of November, so we have to, just say farewell to the spooky season officially and start getting our little Christmas cap on and, follow Mariah Carey wherever she leads us. So, but before, well, I guess a good way of, saying good riddance to spooky season is to just have a final thought moment, like a final review of Agatha All Along, the spooky season show of the year, in my opinion. So good. I already made an episode on it a couple of episodes ago, I think it was, but just like discussing the beginning of it and all that and begging people to like tune in, because I thought that we were going to be into something special, getting into something special, and so it was, and I was not wrong. Now the TV show has concluded exactly, I would say, like a day before, I think it was a day before Halloween, with the double episode ending. And I think I'm ready to talk about in this episode about the last two episodes specifically, but also sort of, I guess it's going to be my final thoughts on the entire show, and just like discussing the nuances and like the complexity and the beauty of this show. The title of this episode is probably going to be like, Marvel at its finest as well, because it is, in my opinion, sort of a return to form in terms of quality, I would say, but also, I think it's just knocking it out of the park. Like, the show is actually really, really well thought out and well executed, and one of the best Marvel TV shows ever made. And there's a lot to contend with, I guess, there, because Agatha is technically a spin-off series, and we're going to discuss also about like it's always the police. It's always the police. Always the police. They're always interrupting me in every episode. Like, girl. But anyways, there's always something to be said, I think. Oh shit. About, the performance, I guess, like, of the show, like in terms of viewerships and all that stuff. Some people call it a flop. Some people call this a success. And I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. I'll give you, as I said, like my thoughts in general on the show and the two episodes specifically, the last two, and what I really enjoyed about it, and what I, my small quibbles with it, maybe like just what I wish could have happened in the last few episodes as well. But overall, I'm super satisfied, as you can tell. But yeah, this will come straight after the songs of the week, as usual. So let's get into those first. First one on the chopping board for the month of November. You can find these songs in my playlist of the month, the Overshare Pamphlet, songs of the week - November 2024. But I want to put in this song called. It's from the new Tyler the Creator album called Chromacopia, and the song that I really, really enjoyed off of this album is Darling I. This is going to be the first of the month, so yeah. Now, before we get into the actual song itself, just want to address literally what just happened in the past few days with him coming after the Swifties and Taylor Swift and all that stuff, saying that the Swifties were calling him like all sorts of names because of his lyrics or whatever. And girl, were they wrong about that? See, the police is coming to get you, Tyler the Creator. Again, his past lyrics have been, dug up, and there's a lot about like, rape material, and like it's just crazy shit. So he was getting upset about that, but I've seen people for once defending the Swifties and saying like that they were right for bringing that up, because why are you talking about all this shit in your music and then you try to come for Taylor Swift? Azealia Banks came for your ass after this, literally. Like, and if Azealia Banks has to say something about you. Ooh, and like Azealia Banks is a big, you know, Taylor Swift supporter, which is very interesting to me. Like that girl has to say everything about everyone except Taylor Swift because she knows Taylor Swift's power and influence and she respects it. So whatever. But that aside, I do have to be honest. That album is actually incredible. His album Chromacopia is actually so good. But yeah, a lot of great songs. He produced and wrote and did everything with this. So the talent is unfortunately undeniable, but also that attitude needs to be, you know, contained. And we're not gonna talk about that. So we're just gonna talk about the song. Darling I is, I would say, like, honestly, this is probably the most Tyler the Creator type of track. Like, it reminds me a bit of like Are We Still Friends? I think, like, it reminds me of those songs. That's typical, I guess, R&B, I would say, sort of track. Very Tyler the Creator type of track. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to Early 9, you'll see what I mean. Today's a big day. Like, the police is just getting everyone's ass today. Like, third time already. I cannot record in peace. But anyways, yes, go listen to that. Incredible track. Go listen to the entire album. It's so well produced, so well executed. I love it. But yeah, and just let's try and forget what he said about Taylor Swift. But yeah. Then next, GPT by Stacey. Now, I tweeted today that I think this might be one of the best songs ever made in K-pop, and I am not backing down from that. It's just astonishing. Like, this song is just so incredibly good. And I would say it's... I would say that the first thing that really impacted me about this song is the production of it all. Like, it's just such a honed, incredibly produced track, and so intricate and so complex, but also so unique and so fresh. I mean, I can never complain. I am a Stacey stan for a reason. Like I Pilsung cannot do any wrong. They've produced some of the best K-pop tracks ever made, and they still are, you know, upping their game. This sounds like Stacey, but it also doesn't sound like anything they've done before. Or like, it is in the same realm, but it's also so new and so fresh. Then the next thing that really captured my attention, I would say, is the video. Like, not necessarily, I don't know exactly like what's going on in the video. Like, it's sort of like, you know, a virus or whatever is, like, there are patients in a mental hospital. I don't really know, and I frankly don't really care either. But it's just a very mesmerizing video. I love the fits, the aesthetic, the style, the fashion, you know, the dresses and everything. They're just on point, very on trend, very, very cool, very, you know, otherworldly in a way, very whimsical, very softcore type of vibe. So freaking good. And then yeah, just the melody, like the choreo was so much fun. It's just a fun, cutesy little track, very dreamy, very whimsical. Again, as I said, so good. Again, cannot stress it enough. This is probably one of the best K-pop tracks I've ever heard. Like, and I've heard a lot of K-pop. I've listened to a lot of K-pop. So, from a veteran, believe this. This is one of the best tracks ever made. I mean, it's my opinion, so whatever. You can do that with that what you will. But it is a girl. It is a girl. Now, speaking of K-pop, Drip by Baby Monster. I gotta be honest, when I first heard the track for the first time, I was like, whatever. But the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, you know what? This song is actually really, really good. I still think my favorite... People are saying, like, this is the best track they've ever made. And I do sort of sense, like, this is, like, probably the most unique song they've done. Like, it doesn't really remind me of Blackpink, at least. It does remind me a bit of second gen. Some parts of it remind, like, the not the pre-chorus, but the second part of the verses remind me a bit of 21. But the chorus and the production and everything is very fresh, very unique. It's not really Blackpink coded at all. This like feels very them in a sense, just as much as like Forever was. I think Forever is still like a dance, typical like dance pop YG track, but I think it had that little different flavor that was very unique to Baby Monster. I can concur that Sheesh was probably the most Blackpink sounding song, and as well as Battle Rap as well. But they're YG's listening to y'all, and they're learning that they need to diversify their sound and like find their own sound for them. And G Dragon produced this, and if that is gonna be a trend in having him as the main producer, like, or a returning producer for them, I would support this because he brings an old school YG vibe, but he somehow managed to modernize it, I guess, with the help of other producers maybe in YG. But this worked so well, so I gotta recognize the the magic, the evolution of the sound. And with the song itself, a full album came to us as well. Like, it was released on the same day as well. And my favorite track on the album is Billionaire, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to the playlist as well. Sorry, but I have to do it. Billionaire is more like Destiny's Child, like year 2000 sort of track. It has a little guitar in the back. The vocals go off. The last chorus is just incredible. I love actually the ad libs there, so good. The bridge as well for this song is so good. Just love it. They thrive. I think they thrive. They explored a lot of genres with this album. They did a little bit of a jazzy song, jazz like hip hoppy song. They did a full hip hop rap song. They did an acoustic R&B track. They have Drip, that is like a dance pop sort of track, like a twerking song, I would say. So I appreciate the effort so much. Like, they really did a very well executed album, I would say. So go listen to that if you want. It's actually very good. So period. And what should I discuss next? I think I want to talk about. I have so many that I discovered this week, but mayhaps Neutral by Duran Bernard. He is such a refreshing voice, I guess, in R&B. I love him so much. He has that little sassy way of singing, like very theatrical and very campy, I would say, as well, in a good way, of course. I love it so much, and it's a very groovy type of track, like very, as I said, I think I already put him in the previous month when I talked about Kitranada, and he, like, this song Weird that he did with him, it was Duran Bernard, but his voice is just so good. Like, it's so, like, has so much character and so much like sassiness and like confidence behind it. So, and it's so good. Like, he's so talented, and yeah, this song is so good. Like, I cannot explain it enough. It's like very very interesting. So go check it out. And what else do I put more? I have so much shit. You know what? I think I might have to like. How many tracks did I put? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 songs already. Maybe I can put one more. Let's see if I can squeeze in one more. But which one am I going to choose? You know what? I want to put Focus by Nicki. By the way, I'm going to see her live this coming Thursday, so I am gearing up for the concert, and I was like re-listening to the album to buzz, and this sort of clicked for me now, which is crazy after so many months that the album came out. But Focus is that bitch. the writing, as usual, Nikki's just very talented for this. She's asking for the other person to like just focus for once on her instead of like, deflecting all the issues and all that stuff. This song sounds a bit like something else that I've listened to before. I cannot really place it. That's why I think if at first it didn't really click for me, because I was like, I've heard this before. I don't know if I like it, but it clicked. It's just so good. If you like good writing and if you like good storytelling, confessional songwriting, this is for you guys. For all the Gracie Abrams fans, for all the Taylor Swift fans, for all the Olivia Rodrigo stands, for all the, Sabrina Carpenter stands, I guess. Like, this is for y'all. Focus is your song. So, and it's my song too. So, that's it. I don't want to add any more, even though I had so much more, but that is it. But yeah, let's get into the real gig now. So, what are we talking about today? As I was saying, I want to talk about the last 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, but also just in general, I guess, like a little review. Well, yeah, I guess like an overall thought on the show, how it performed, how I feel about it, how am I enjoying it, like, how did I enjoy it, was it good? The answer is yes. Spectacular. As I said, like, it's Marvel at its finest. I think they sort of like are churning back to quality content, I would say, and like quality control. I am so pumped to see what they're going to do with Daredevil with a new year. I think it's coming out in March. It's a very long TV show, and from what we've seen from the sneak peeks and everything else, it is very, very good. Very, very promising. If you are an OG Daredevil Netflix TV show fan, then you'll of course enjoy this, because it's the same exact cast and the tone is very similar. Like, it's exactly the same. They knew, like, that TV show was so famous for a reason. Like, that was very gritty, very unique, and very true to the character as well, I would say. And it conquered, the hearts of many, many fans, myself included. And they're coming back. They're bringing Charlie Cox back for this role. I think he's so well cast, so talented. Why am I talking about this TV show? But I'm excited. Like, my point is that I'm excited about Marvel again, thanks to mainly, I would say, Deadpool and Wolverine and Agatha All Along. I think those two did a great job at relaunching the content, like both in the movie space with Deadpool and Wolverine, but also in the TV show space with Agatha All Along. And I can, like, safely say that it's also part of the, change of management at Disney that I was talking about. The turning back, the previous management that was under, I can't remember if it was, well, when we had that overproductive phase that was under a different management compared to, like, the previous Marvel phases. And during that previous management, we were having, in every sort of like corner of the Disney empire, too much crap. Just too many projects being released. It was just very, very bad management, I would say. No quality control whatsoever. And I think they just, like, Kevin Feige probably had the directive of, like, just putting out whatever the fuck he wanted, and, like, just kept on, releasing everything all at once. And that didn't work, because so many people, well, the quality, first of all, dropped significantly. We got too much stuff to catch up on. Some gems were left here and there. I still think the Eternals is one of the best Marvel movies ever. I don't know. I'm an Eternals apologist and an Eternals fan, so whatever. But we definitely were, lost along the way. Like, ridiculous drops in the revenue and just, ridiculous quality of the content. Like, it was just so bad. I'm talking about, I don't know. What was it? Secret Wars in the TV show space. I'm talking about even Miss Marvel, to be fair, wasn't that great of a show. A lot of unnecessary stuff was put out, basically, right? And so people got lost, and people got, fed up with the amount of content that was, like, getting shoved down their throats, and people started, being fed up with the comic book space as a whole as well. So, but I'm saying, like, now I think after Deadpool and Wolverine, when Wolverine, like, had a bit of a glimmer of a hope, even though I know that, that was mostly Ryan Reynolds doing in that sense. So, and he's not sticking around to like oversee Marvel, of course. But so yeah, I was curious to know if that was a fluke or what. But I mean, I still contend that Ryan Reynolds did a heavy lifting for that. But maybe that's a good positive spin, a change of pace for Marvel in the movie space. I'm excited to see what's going to come out next. I think the next one is Captain America, and it looks very promising. But hopefully, it's also a sign that Marvel is like regrouping and just focusing on the quality over the quantity of the content. And again, Agatha, I think, brought the faith back again for the TV show space, I would say. And this is like, back to back now. So it's Deadpool and Wolverine and then Agatha, which are both incredibly well executed shows and, movie, well, projects, let's just say. Now, the last 2 episodes of this show were so good at setting up also everything is gonna come back. Well, possibly Wanda coming back, and everything else is gonna happen next with that corner of the MCU universe. But yeah, it was such a good wrapping up story as well for Agatha specifically, because it is at the end of the day her show, but also, a good introduction to Wiccan and Billy in that sense. So, oh shit. What is going on today? Like, why is everyone trying to sabotage me? Girl, are we done? I hate motorcycles for a reason. So loud for what? For what? Anyways, I was saying last 2 episodes were very, 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 very good. They just, topped everything else as well. They wrapped it up in a very satisfying way, a masterful, execution of great storytelling in TV shows. I just loved it so much. And so basically in the last 2 episodes, we sort of got all the answers that most of the answers that we were looking for. I still think there's a couple of things that were left out that could have been answered, I would say, but overall I'm very satisfied. And when I say that, Marvel at its finest, I refer mostly to the source material being adapted in the correct way. Like, you still honor the original material, the original, comics, but also to the point where we can, allow Marvel to have some changes and still being true to the original material, right? And done in a way that is, that makes sense and it's, purposeful and it's just well executed. And I think as well, the great part about this TV show that it, again, is Marvel at its finest is because it's been a long time since we had fan theories about TV shows and Marvel content, and this was just so well structured and so well produced and written that just called for fans' engagement in that sense. It was just so beautiful to see a community forming again on Twitter every Wednesday, basically, throwing out their theories, and on TikTok as well. The show went super viral as well, and it was just it brought me back to the good old days of Marvel, waiting for the next project to see if your theories were going to come true, waiting for what's going to happen next, and all that stuff. That is really, really I would say the driving force of, first of all, any sort of larger franchise, but also Marvel specifically. So yeah, I would say that was the very lucky formula of the MCU, is that they really nailed it down and they kept you interested in every sort of content they were putting out. Also the fact that every story is linked in some form, and you got every project is connecting the story to the next one. So this really felt true to the MCU roots, but also I think in a newer way. It was just bringing so many cool elements into the MCU that were not really explored before. Again, as I said, queer characters done in such a truthful and, I would say, neutral, or maybe true to the characters sort of way, not in a forced way at all, just so effortlessly written, Jack Schaefer, again, hats off to you. Like, you are that girl. Again, the same magic also the WandaVision brought, which also was written and produced by Jack Schaefer, was again present here. Now, in the last episode, what did we learn about, basically, right? We finished off the road, and the only three witches that escaped the road were Wiccan, Jan, and Agatha. But in that also, of course, we learned in this like a whole TV show that, well, of course, teen was Billy, another than Wiccan, so Wanda's son managed to escape the hex and get into the body of someone else, like another boy, William Kaplan. So we have his reveal in the show, which is incredible, very true to the source material, a bit more nuanced and a bit more simple, which is like perfect to streamline, the story. Then we had the reveal that Rio, the Green Witch, is Death, Lady Death, and that's actually a long flame, I guess, like a long-lasting flame with Agatha's flame, I guess, a big fling. Well, more than a fling, I would say. It seems like they have a big, old history. So, incredible reveal. And sadly, we witnessed the passing of so many witches in this thing. So, R.I.P. to Patty. Well, not Patty, but Lilia. So good. Alice as well. Rest in peace, girl. You were loved. And Sharon, of course. Sharon, what the fuck? I can't believe it. But yeah, so they managed to escape the road. They figure out how to end the trial and everything. They all get what they want out of the road in a way, apart from Agatha, I guess, which is interesting. But so Jan gets her powers back, and it turns out that it was actually Agatha who put a curse on her and stopped her from using her powers. But Agatha didn't know about it. She didn't know about it, so that solves the Jen storyline in a way. So they appease each other and all that stuff. Like, that's great. Billy, thanks to Agatha's tutorage, I guess, manages to find his twin brother. That scene where they like try to get Tommy into like the body of another teenager. That was so well executed. It was so good. I cannot and also the questions they would Billy is just so like horrified about his powers as well. He's not really understanding the line that he's walking in a way, because he's at the end of the day a witch, and he did some horrible things to survive in a way. Like, he took the body of another person, and he did also something else, which we'll discuss in a few moments. But so yeah, while they're searching for Tommy's soul and trying to find a body for his soul, Billy sort of questions, his powers, and Agatha. Oh, that was so heartbreaking. But she is really a mother figure for Billy, more than even Wanda ever was, I would say. And she really, reassures him that, again, even in the last few episodes, but even in this one, that he has survived, and there's no shame in that, and that he's used his powers for his own survival, and that sometimes boys just die, and it's not his fault that he, jumped in, he took the opportunity and all that stuff. So, and we learn also more about that, because Agatha, as we all know, lost her child as well, Nicholas Cratch, and we learn the truth about how that happened as well. The whole backstory was so sad, but I'll get into that as well. So yeah, they find a new body for Tommy. We don't see it, of course, but it's a kid that's getting drowned in a pool, basically, by some bullies. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen there, who's going to be cast as Tommy. In the comics, I think they're twins, Billy and Tommy. They're actually twins, but I think even from WandaVision, we can tell that they're planning to have two different actors. The babies looked different, so yeah. So I'm excited to see who's going to be cast as Tommy, and hopefully maybe we'll see him soon, maybe in the Vision Quest storyline, or a TV show that's coming out sometime whenever, I don't know. But yeah, so Billy, finds his brother in some way, finds his brother, knows that his brother's alive and is now back into the same world as him. So that solves his, purpose as well. And the only one left is Agatha, who solves the last trial, but doesn't really manage to get her powers back. And so the road is like technically completed, but she's the only one who didn't get what she wanted, because what she really needs is someone to blast her with, with her magic, so that she can reabsorb, magical powers and be powerful again. And that cannot happen without having people killed, which is the big curse that Agatha has to bring on her shoulders. But anyways, Agatha and Rio basically explain to us that their relationship has been very troubled because Rio had to take, because she's death, basically, had to take Agatha's son from her, Nicholas Scratch. And I think what's very interesting is that, Rio is there with the Coven, not because, she wants to kill Agatha in truth. Well, part of it is that she wants to kill Agatha, but I think the biggest problem for her is that Billy hopping, into this body and, getting into the body of, a dead person is sort of breaking the rules, and that's not possible for Rio to, to allow in that sense. So she's there to actually claim Billy's body back. The body and his soul as well. And Agatha has such a big connection to, Billy, but also in general, the story. Her main storyline is that basically she has had his child taken from her, and she doesn't want that to happen to Billy as well. So this whole time we learn basically that Agatha was trying to protect Billy from Rio, and throughout the entire road situation, and in a way, she strikes this deal with death. She fights death. Billy gives his magic to Agatha, but she doesn't kill him, of course. And she fights with death, but she knows she cannot kill death, of course, because she cannot kill death. So in the end, she sacrifices herself for the life of Billy Maximoff, Wiccan. And that it was so heartbreaking. So yes, Agatha gets her power back, her powers back, but then dies. And it was such a sad scene, also because Rio loves Agatha at the end of the day, but it's her job. She's death. She has to be impartial. She has to be neutral. She has to, go ahead with it. And it was so sad. So sad. And I just think it was marvelous the way it was executed. Because, again, the great thing about a script is that it always has to, have some nuance to it. And, some callbacks and some stuff that you sprinkle throughout the episodes that come back into play again, right? Her past with Rio and the death of her own kid and her motivations and the reason why she was so protective of Billy because she was trying to actually protect him from Rio and from death. And it turns out that Agatha knew all along, of course, as the title would say, that that Billy was actually Wanda's son. And through her backstory as well with Nicholas Scratch in the last episode, we learn that even how much more it means to her to, protect Billy, and just, how she's been, she's been trying to escape death for so long, and not specifically for herself, but for her child. So, in a backstory, we learn basically that Nicholas Scratch was supposed to die at birth, and Rio, since she loved, even before that, Agatha, ever since the beginning, she loved Agatha, she gave her more time with Nicholas, without saying necessarily how much time she had, but she allowed him to live for a bit more. And Agatha, I guess you can infer, it's not really clear, of course, in the story, but I guess you can infer that she started killing witches, not for her own gain, specifically, as the legends would say. I guess the story is a bit more complicated, of course, as it usually is. She started killing bodies, killing witches, to keep death busy, in that sense, right? So Rio couldn't get to Nicholas. So this whole time, all the legends about Agatha being just an evil fucking bitch is just, you know, she decided to just go ahead and be the villain, I guess, only to save, well, as much as she could, I guess, her child. And as people have pointed out online as well, the only time where she didn't kill witches was the time when Rio came for her son. So that day when Nicholas Scratch was fed up with like helping her mom kill witches and asked her to just like, you know, for one day not to do it, that's when he died basically. And it was so sad. They were both sleeping, and so Agatha couldn't even, you know, sort of fight back or whatever it was. Rio came in while they were both sleeping and just, you know, took him. So yeah, incredibly sad. And then we also learned the truth about the Witch's Road, which is that it never existed. The song itself, the ballad, was actually Agatha's and Nicola's song that they just like sang to each other while they were like roaming around the world, and Agatha trying to protect him from death. Like it was, you know, they were always on the move. They were like sort of nomadic in a way, and she was like on the run and like trying to kill all the witches to keep Rio safe. So during their journey, they would sing this little song called like down. What was it like? Down the windy road or something. So it's incredible to see. Like that's such a good like plot twist in a way. Like it all started off as a silly song that they sang to each other, and the road never existed because the song then started becoming popular, and it sort of got a life of its own, the song itself, and all the witches started believing into that, and they were all seeking the road, and they all thought that Agatha knew about the road, so they all came to her, and that was a perfect excuse for her to like use the song now as a tool to lure witches and then kill them, right? So it all came together in that way, in an unwarranted and like unwanted way, but worked well for Agatha and Nicholas in a way, and yeah, it sort of became its own like little legend, and I sort of think that that's how historically things go as well. Like some songs become popular because it's just like a little, or like a rumor becomes into such a big other thing, and it's just like such a historically accurate things of how history is made in a way, right? It's just like a bunch of perspectives and all this stuff and hearsays and what is the dominant, you know, conception about how something started off. So it's a legend. It's a folk tale in a way. Like it's so smart. I just love it so much. Like it is. And the Lorna we learned that the Lorna Wu version is basically based off of this like, you know, ballad that was at the end of the day created by Agatha herself. It was Agatha all along. So smart, and that inspired so many other legends about the road and like how what are the rules of the road and like all that. And we learned that basically it was her strategy to just like also, as soon as she regained consciousness after, you know, coming out of her on the spell, you know, at the beginning of the season, her real intention was to get again a new coven to get her purple back, right? Using the same exact strategy. Billy reminded her of that Witch's Road at the beginning of the series. And she was like, oh yeah, right, actually. I actually used that same trick that I used millennia ago, basically, to learn, to lure witches and just get their powers. That's basically the truth that we find out. Like the road never existed. She just she lured the witches to her. She promised them to, like, she would bring them to the road, and then when they were, you know, frustrated with her, they just attacked her, and then she would get their powers, right? So she was trying to do that with Lilia, Jan, and Alice, of course. But to her surprise, the road manifested itself. So we learned, of course, it was a lie that she never actually walked the road, even though technically it's not. She did say that only one person survived the road, and technically it was, as people were saying, it is Coven 2, not Coven True. It was the original coven. Her original coven was her and Nicholas, which is so sad. And only one person survived because Nicholas died at the end of, like, their own windy road, I guess. Like, he died and she survived. So she wasn't really lying, but she wasn't really referring to that exact like Witch's Road in that sense. So yeah, but anyway, so her surprise, the road manifested itself, and it was none other than Billy himself creating the road unconsciously, just like his mom, Wanda Maximoff, created the entire hex on Westview in that TV show's Situation in WandaVision. So, you know, and turns out Agatha, in a flashback, we learned that she actually knew since the beginning, since like the road manifested itself to her, that it was actually Billy's doing, and she learned immediately that it was Wanda's son, right? So the entire show, as I said, she was protecting him from Rio, and so she did the same thing that she did for Nicholas. She started killing the witches in the in the coven, one by one, I guess, to keep Rio away from Billy. And so that explains the layers are even more, like, they're even deeper, It's just so beautiful. The way it's written is just incredible. Like, the parallels between Nicholas and Billy, and just, and when Agatha dies as well, like, at the end of the day, Billy was the only person who actually truly believed in her and believed that she was actually a bad person. So that was so sad. I don't know. Like, she managed to at least, like, get this guilt off of her, shoulders, that she could at least save Billy when she couldn't save Nicholas, right? So, yeah. That was such a good ending for Agatha. And of course, she's not actually dead, because at the end of the last episode, she is returning in the form of a ghost, much like her mother when in one of the trials, because I guess her unfinished business is to help Billy find Tommy. And that's where we like leave off, I guess. Like the ending is basically Billy and the ghost of Agatha together trying to locate Tommy. Like, they're trying to go and find him, basically, which is very, very cool and makes me very excited. And it's very true to the comics as well, because that's how it goes. Like, Billy first finds Tommy, and then together they try to reunite the Maximoff family. So Wanda is coming back. Stay safe, be reassured, like, be healthy, like, try to be there for it's gonna take a while, like, gear up. That's all I'm saying. Gear up, because it's gonna take a bit, but she's gonna come back. And so people complaining, saying, oh, we were supposed to be getting her, I don't understand why Wanda wasn't here. Girl, just be patient. You guys demand so much sometimes, and holy shit, like, people are after me today. Like, I cannot record in peace. But anyway, yeah, grow up here. It is like very true to the comics, I would say. If you don't know about the comics, this is how it goes. So just, support the show for what it is. It's just, like, really, really good. And this leads me also to, like, the next topic, which is what I wish that was done, I guess, sort of, like, better. Again, as I said, like, I don't really have many complaints. They're just, like, small quibbles, because I really love the show. So this really shows how much I care about it. But I just wish, for example, that they explained or gave us a bit more about Rio and Agatha's connection, because it is Agatha's show at the end of the day. So I just wish we had a bit more of a, because apparently they knew each other even before she gave birth to Nicholas. They were already, like, in a little, like, sort of situationship. So I just wish they gave us even more info about them. That was my only, like, quibble, I guess. And also, I gotta be completely honest, I'm still defending Joe Locke. I think he's an incredible casting choice for Billy. I just didn't really like the costume, if I have to be honest, for him. Just looked a bit wacky in some aspects. I like the little, like, blue sparkles in the seams of the dress, of the fit, but I don't like the hood, personally. Like, I don't like the hood. I would have done, a little cape moment, like a big cape moment, much like Doctor Strange. That would have been so cool. Like, the effects that they did on Doctor Strange's cape, that I would have done that for Billy, because that's also what happens in the comics. Like, he has this huge cape. It is, like, very animated in a way. So I would have done that as well. That would have been cool. But everything else, I cannot complain. I loved it. I loved all the bits and pieces of the show. So yeah, I am excited to see what's going to happen next with this, like, corner of the MCU. If I am correct about this, I think I've seen an interview with some other producers of the show. There's not Jack Schaefer, but they did say that there are other projects at the moment, like, being written and I assume part of it is also one Vision Quest or something about Vision, and I hope that they're gonna integrate it there with Tommy, because we cannot wait ages for Tommy to at least show up. And maybe in that Vision Quest story, we're also gonna see Agatha and Billy show up in that. So yeah, so that at that point we could have had all the Maximovs reunited in a way, and then we can like lead back into Wanda coming back, which she will, as I said, and she's gonna be a key player in the Avengers movies because she is integral to the Infinity War. Infinity War, what? Secret Wars and Doomsday sort of storyline, because she's a very important character opposite of Doctor Doom. So she will come back for that, 100%. I'm seated for that. So I hope these storylines get developed in time for those movies to come out, before those movies come out. So yeah, but yeah, I'm trusting it. I'm trusting the process. I'm back. My faith is restored in the MCU. Again, as I said, I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. The ratings of the show have been, in my view, very, very good and very, very positive and very strong for what it is. People say that it's not performing as well as it should be, comparing the numbers to other Marvel TV shows. But my point here is the following. Like, the other TV shows worked extremely well in terms of viewership because they were all dealing with key characters that were already like introduced in the big Avengers movies and all that stuff. They were very well established characters already. Like, I'm talking about Loki, I'm talking about Wanda, I'm talking about Vision, I'm talking about Sam and the Winter Soldier, and so Bucky. And so all those shows performed super well because they were dealing with characters already established. They were sort of like spin-offs in their own sort of way to the movies, right? This, Agatha, is, you can view it as a spin-off of a spin-off in a way. Like, the only time we had Agatha introduced to us was through WandaVision, which was big, of course, but it's not, WandaVision was incredible in terms of viewership, of course. It was super, super strong. But it's again, I said, it's a spin-off of a spin-off. So manage your expectations in a way. And it's already, I think, incredible that it managed to do so well for what it is. There's no major character in this TV show that was, previously established already. So they were relying simply on a completely new cast, apart from Agatha, in a way. And just on good writing and good production. I loved the way this was produced. So I'm very satisfied with the viewership. I think I've read that the episode 7 and episode 8 performed so well. I think 4.7 million and 4.8 million each in terms of viewership on the first day. So what more can you ask for this show? Again, manage your expectations for what it actually is. There's no main big name in this TV show. So to perform this well, for me, it's already incredible. And the grip it had on the TikTok audience and all that, and the Twitter audience, and it was just well performing in that sense. So I, of course, don't think they're going to do another Agatha season, of course, but that was a limited series in the first place. So very satisfied with it. And before I conclude, I just wanted to say that one last thing, that the another thing that I really, really found very refreshing on this show was the practical effects. And first, it gave the show a bit of a distinct flavor to it, a very musical theater, but also immersive sort of way. It reminded me so much of The Wizard of Oz, and a lot of practical stuff that were really well executed. And again, I think this was just such a refreshing TV show, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm gonna miss it. As I binge watched it multiple times again. Every time that a new episode was coming out, I re-binged the previous episode. So hope you guys, if you have not watched this, go back and explore it, see what's up with it. You can binge watch it right now on Disney Plus. I hope you guys watch it. It's a very, very well crafted show. You don't need to know much about the TV show as well. If you like witches, if you like anything else, just go and have an incredible watch. So yeah, period. And with that, I say farewell to you guys. Have a lovely time. Have a lovely week. Have a lovely November. We are going to gear up for Thanksgiving in this household, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fancy. It's gonna be incredible. So, yeah, and also stay tuned. We're gonna be discussing the elections if and when we get the results. So, stay tuned for that. Bye.